Yo, what's good, YouTube? We're finally back. It's your boy AJ. I'm here with Chubbs, Rage, and Cypher coming off a fresh Nets loss off the tank. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe. 2025 Tankathon Nets. We are back. We're not really going to talk about this Pistons loss. We just lost to the Pistons 113-98. Noah Clowney had a career high. Keon Johnson hoops. Who doesn't love it? That's all we have to say about that game. But I really want to get into the tankathon real thoughts. Like Nets world is probably we've seen on Nets Twitter, you have the anti-tank, the tank fans, but I just want to know and ask you guys, how do you guys generally feel about our tank status right now? We're going on tankathon right now. We're 13-24, I believe. And we are currently supposed to be the sixth worst team in the NBA. But what do you guys think about the general status of our tank? I'll start with you, Rage. Like, how are you feeling about it?
So we're on the right we're on the right type of way right now. Like there's some
Yeah.
team we're at the point right now where we've gotten off of some of our veterans which we've wanted. We're almost kind of one or two away because obviously we traded for D'Angelo Russell and in the long term obviously probably don't want that around if we want to lose games.
Yeah.
Along with still trying to get off CJ, but we're at a solid spot, and as long as we do continue to lose games, we should be fine. But there's some teams right now that looks like we're almost out of rain with in terms of trying to get to that top, that's those odds, those top odds, because there's still as 7-win teams, 6-win teams, and you're still trying to fight off the Wizards. You're
Mhm.
trying to fight off, you're still trying to fight off the Blazers. You're fighting off the Hornets. You're fighting off other teams. So
Yeah.
Jazz, they're still them too. So but it's solid right now. Like we're just going up, and we're just going up right now. So, and we should be approaching the status where we get off with these guys.
It's like the chase
And
to be
we
bad.
just got
That's what
Tyrese
yeah.
Martin.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
chase to be the worst, and we're trying to chase these teams. And I know we were talking about this before in the chat. Like, I think Sean should have started it earlier. Like, we should have traded DFS during the summer. This guy, Dennis Schroeder, I know he was waiting for the December 15th thing, but he could have got rid of them. The package we got back wasn't no wait till the middle of the year thing. Like, we should have started this tank earlier, and I feel like Sean should have took it more serious earlier. Although he did make the trades, I'll give him the credit. He did make the trades, but I just feel like if he started earlier, we would have a bigger lead on this race to be the worst. But go ahead, Chubbs. Your thoughts on our tank status, bro?
Before the injury bug we got, I think the tank was definitely going bad. You had guys that were playing way above their level, and we were winning games we had no business winning.
Yeah,
But I think with the current stretch of games we have, the fact that we just played 8 guys, and we're probably going to play 8 guys going forward, I think this tank job is going to go in the right direction.
yeah. No, I agree. Go ahead, Saif. Your your opinion on the tank as we speak right now. On yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this in defense of Marks.
Hmm.
This team won 32 games last year trying, and they
Hmm.
traded away their second leading scorer for basically nothing. Well, picks, and you got no players back. No, like, good players. So, I don't know. I think he expected the team to be bad. And
Hmm.
then Schroeder went on a hot streak to start the season, like floor raising. Like, he was averaging 18 and 7 and
Yeah.
shooting 40% from three. You had Coach Fernandez, who these guys just trust and believe in, and all these guys were trying to bond to the system. And it just he was the floor raising coach that they thought Vaughn would be.
Yeah.
So I gotta give Marks credit. Look, the second he could trade Schroeder on December 15th, he did it. No, never in the history of his tenure has he made a December trade like that, as
Yeah.
far as I know. So give him credit for that. And I was worried about the tank for a while, but you just saw tonight. Like,
Yeah.
they're losing games, they're losing a ton of games. They got the sixth worth odds, 9% chance of the number one pick right now. And that's going to keep going up because Cam Thomas is out until I believe January 21st at the earliest or latest. Cam Johnson is probably traded. I'd be surprised if he's still on the team by January 15th. And it just you're starting to see the talent of this team. There's no creation. They don't really have guards. Ben Simmons, is struggling with his health. They got Keon Johnson running the show. So yeah, no, the tank looks good.
How do you? All right. Well, I'm glad you said that because now we can segue into the second topic of the D'Lo saga. trading DFS, right? And I think Nets fans were not expecting the biggest package coming back, and we know we got D'Lo in a couple seconds, and we got Maxwell Lewis, and prayers to Maxwell Lewis. I think he's out for the year with that. It was like a broken tibula.
Well, just a month.
A month? Okay. He's out for a month with that broken tibula, and we got D'Lo coming back, and D'Lo just got his shin contusion. But do you think Sean? Do you think he made the right move with DFS? Because a lot of Nets fans kind of had that anger towards him because D'Lo is too good. D'Lo might make us better. He's a point guard. He's gonna make Claxton better. He's gonna make the team better. He can shoot. He's a better offensive player than Dennis Schroeder. So, how do you feel about this DFS for D'Lo?
In terms of getting guys back, I
Mhm.
mean, it was interesting. Getting D'Lo back was obviously you were gonna need to get a filler, but it's just a matter of moving
Mhm.
off of him. Like the trade obviously is gonna help us. We were able to get off of DFS, but D'Lo definitely helps raise our floor a little bit. He's gonna help
Yeah.
us out. And it's just a matter of moving off of him. It was a little I guess we could have gotten a little bit better off of the trade, and like you mentioned, we could have done this a
Mhm.
while back. We've been talking about this since the summer in terms of a trade like this that we saw at a DFS. So that was the only part of it too, where it was just if you were done a trade like this, it wasn't a
Mhm.
terrible return, but it was something that you could have done earlier, and you're still gonna have to move off of another
Yeah.
guy.
Go ahead, Chubbs.
I'll say this. I don't see anything wrong with getting D'Lo because I view it as this isn't 2018 anymore.
Yeah.
This is not the baby Nets. I think D'Lo's the perfect guy. I don't think he's going to win you much games at this stage of his career.
Mhm.
The only way I see him being a positive player in that aspect if you start building a legitimate team around him. But even then, it's D'Angelo Russell in 2025. I don't expect anything.
Yeah. And I was gonna say because D'Lo's his first game back. What did he have? 22-8.
Yeah, he went crazy.
He went crazy. He looked great.
He went crazy.
But like you said, his shooting and his impact didn't really give us that win. It was a loss. It didn't really impact the win or loss column. Now have we seen D'Lo and Cam Thomas yet? I don't think that's yet to be seen, and I don't want to see that because I'm like, those two could have a game where there could be games where we could overachieve and win because we beat the Bucks when Cam Thomas went off. So it's not that I'm scared that D'Lo's going to hurt the tank. I just think that Sean should just flip him. He should be flipped before the deadline. I think D'Lo still has value, and it's only going to increase our chances if we don't have a solid point guard that can distribute and score at a decent level. If he's gone by the deadline, I'll be happy with it. I wasn't mad at the trade at all. I was like, this is a decent trade. I'll take the 3 seconds, and I'll take Maxwell Lewis. He's a good prospect. But the D'Lo, it's like he's got to be moved before the deadline because I don't want to risk any type. Because we're in a race here to be the worst team in the league, and these teams want to be bad. Like these Jazz and Charlotte, they're not going to give up any leeway. Any type of leeway, we need to take
Right.
advantage of.
Well, I'll say this.
Mhm.
Where would you want to flip him to? Because you got to factor in a lot of teams are going to be sellers. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of buyers with this deadline, especially with this draft class coming up.
Yeah.
So that's where trying to sell these guys becomes tricky because there's not a lot of buyers. 5 teams that are probably going to be buying?
That's a good point. I mean, he's on an expiring $18 million contract. I just feel like there's somebody what contender needs at least a backup point guard out there that could be valuable off the bench. I just don't think. I just think D'Lo has I'm not saying he's the most valuable guy, but I'm saying he has a little bit. If we could move Dennis Schroeder, if we could move these guys, like D'Lo could get moved.
There's a team I do have in mind, but
Mhm.
y'all are not gonna like it.
We-
Even then, I
Just
don't think it's possible because there's not a lot of contenders that
Yeah.
in this league right now. But I don't even think the money would even work that way. But I'll refuse to say their name.
Nah, say it, bro, because they're gonna want you to.
Okay, let's just say they're across the river. They could use a D'Lo.
No, financially, that trade is not going to work.
Yeah, that's why I
Not
said
gonna
it
work?
could never work because they
All right.
could not make the money work.
I have another team. Because Cypher's great. What about the Grizzlies? I feel like the Grizzlies could use D'Lo too. You think the Grizzlies could?
No.
No, financially.
Theoretically, it could happen, but no.
Mhm.
It's just, they have Marcus Smart. They got Pippen Jr. They got Smart. They got Ja. They have enough guards.
Yeah,
What they're looking for is a win.
Yeah, because I think that the Marcus Smart thing, I feel like they're iffy on him. So if they're gonna want a little change, I mean, Marcus Smart is defensive though, like that's the thing. But if they're gonna
If they
want a
lose
little,
Smart, it's going to be for like Cam Johnson.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I
So,
do have a couple of teams in mind for D'Lo.
Mhm,
I mean, okay, so the Magic and the Pistons.
okay,
With Jaden Ivey, out indefinitely, and the Magic, all their injuries, like they need some backup guard play, some shooters, some that could create a little bit.
yeah,
You know, D'Lo isn't a needle mover, but he's a good floor raiser. He's a good backup, and you could use him in the playoff series.
yeah. I,
Funny
I agree.
enough,
Yeah, go
sorry to
ahead.
interrupt. Funny
Yeah.
enough, the Lakers could use a dealer right now. It's
Don't
funny
do
how
that, bro.
it's funny how trades work, but they do need that backup ball handler for like a long.
It's funny how they gave him up, and I don't think he was the problem. I mean, Lakers fans are probably going to be like sitting and be like, he was trash and all that, but it's like
But look,
I don't think he was the problem exactly for them though.
he wasn't, but they have
Yeah.
to try something.
They have to try something, and I think DFS is great for them because I watched the Lakers the other night, and I think he's shooting threes, he's doing what he does, shooting threes and playing defense, 3-and-D. So it was a solid move by Rob Pelinka. Like I said, I'm not mad at D'Lo, and I think if D'Lo stays behind, like if he stays here after the trade deadline, I'm not gonna be super angry or anything, but I'm just gonna be like, hopefully we just make up some random injuries and keep him out the game.
I mean,
Do the injury report stuff and keep him out or
the
something
trade.
like that.
I mean, the judging of the trade.
Yeah.
So, okay, compared to the Grizzlies trade that they turned down, in terms of draft capital, the Lakers was better. Like, I know technically on paper they were offering the first, but they wanted our second back. Their first was protected.
Yeah.
We were trading DFS only to move up like 10 spots in the draft. And
Yeah.
that wasn't worth it. In terms of the players, I would have preferred Kennard and Conchar over D'Lo because, again, D'Lo does mess up the tank. The thing is, and this is where I got to give Sean credit, it's just they're taking the tank seriously now. Cam Johnson is out. Cam Thomas is out. I don't think that hamstring, I don't think it's as serious as they're letting it on to be. I think they are, and same thing with the D'Angelo Russell. I think they're starting to fake injuries to get these guys out of the game.
Oh yeah, for
So we
sure.
lose.
I was just saying before this, I think the only legit injury is CJ because I saw CJ walking with a boot and he had a slight limp. I feel like everybody else is like
And we saw that injury happen live.
Yeah, we saw it live, and I think like, everybody else, D'Lo shin contusion, CT's hamstring. I just feel like they're holding these guys out on random. You know how the Nets do it; they're just slowing the process down.
Even Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons
yeah.
looked fine to me. Like he's physically looked fine this year. I don't think he's hurt, to be honest. I think they're just the easiest way to, speed up a tank is get rid of your on-ball creators, and they got rid of all their on-ball creators.
Yeah, because we look at tonight's game. What do we had? 8 players available, so it's like it's starting to seem like I kind of trusting a little bit more and more about the tank. So if D'Lo stays here after the trade deadline, we could just play these injury report games because the Nets have been playing these injury report games even before we started tanking. We've been doing this for years with this injury report. Remember that time we got fined with the injuries? It's like we've been doing this for years. So if they find a way just to keep D'Lo out of games and keep him out of Bay, that's fine. We'll keep him on.
They'll jump D'Lo in and out because they have to at this point.
Yeah.
Like they traded away 4 first-round picks to get our 2 back. They are taking this seriously. And I think and something else I want to mention real quick, I think Jory is taking the tank seriously now. Because that Bucks game, where we almost blew that 20-point lead, like if you look at that fourth quarter, I don't know what the hell, Jordy was trying to win that game.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the hell he was doing, like taking a play out of Vaughn's book. Just, the rotations, I'm pretty sure Cam Thomas and D'Angelo Russell got subbed out like 6 different times in that fourth quarter for no reason. And I think they were trying to lose that game.
Yeah. Shout out to I mean, I think it's like I said in the beginning of the year, I was a little worried about the tank, and now I feel really good. To be honest, I feel pretty good about our tank right now. Now the last subject I want to get to is the Cam Johnson trade news. I mean, CJ is probably our most valuable vet that we have, and now Mark Stein reported here says the Pacers are a team to watch for Cam Johnson. Kings, Thunder, Grizzlies also linked to trade. And then he said he highlighted the Indiana Pacers a lot. It's a team to watch, a potentially trade for CJ. So I just wanted your guys' quick thoughts. And we've been talking about Cam Johnson. Me and Ray we did videos, a ton of these videos. If you go back down on our thing, go back down in Nets Kingdom and look up Cam Johnson. I swear we have 6 videos on these trade machines. But what is your opinion? Because Sean has been getting rid of these vets, and the teams that we think they're gonna go to, like, it's a complete opposite. Like, we thought DFS was gonna go to Grizzlies, he went to the Lakers. We thought Dennis was gonna go somewhere else, he went to the Warriors. So it's like, do you think CJ is gonna go where he's linked to? Rage, what do you think about what's going on right now?
There's a possibility, especially we've been hearing stuff about the
Yeah.
Pacers, with the Kings, and we've been hearing stuff about them for quite a while now. The Thunder is also a team that we've been hearing stuff about, and I think that also makes sense. With a lot of these teams, we obviously hope to go and get out either younger guys or in draft capital. But I mean, you look at the Pacers, which we're heavily linked to. I mean, Jarris
Mhm.
Walker is a nice guy that you go and look at, and you can also get some draft capital there as well. But you go and look at OKC, and they have guys like Case and Wallace, or Nikola Topic, we were talking
Yeah.
about before. If we were to get in the draft about who we'd want to draft, and that's another type of guy. We'd have to wait till next year to see stuff out of. But it's a guy who can run the point guard and has a high trajectory. So I mean, it'd be nice, and just trying to get stuff out of him to where like we're able to we're it helps out our rebuild, obviously get some young guys, but there's a good chance that these link teams that we've been seeing ends up
Yeah.
happening just because they have the type of assets that we'd want out of a
Yeah,
trade for 'em.
and I know Sean wants 2 first-round picks. Let me ask you this, Chubbs. Sean wants 2 first rounds for CJ. Do you think that's just him trying to leverage, him trying to put out a high offer, or you think like that's a real thing? Like, do you think we can get 2 firsts for CJ?
I think it's possible.
Mm.
I didn't think we could get 5 firsts for Mikal Bridges after the season. I didn't hear we are. Like with the new CBA, teams are going to be desperate.
Mm.
Teams are going to look at any avenue they can to get better, and CJ makes a lot of teams that are buying significantly better. An on-ball guy that can shoot lights out.
Yeah.
I'll say this: I would want Sean to treat this proactively and not reactively.
Yeah.
The DFS and Schroeder trades, those are reactive. These are guys playing out of their minds. They
Right.
had no business being here. You had to get them out of here. We were winning too many games. CJ is different because, granted, he's going to win you games. He can net you a far better return for a while, for the foreseeable future. This is like the last piece you really could get something out of
Yeah.
moving forward, unless you want to depart from Klex or you want to depart from Ben Simmons if that avenue comes up. So this is like your last piece to truly get assets.
Yeah. I think, and CJ is honestly having a career, like he's having one of the best seasons of his career right now, like shooting insane out of his mind, night after night,
He's hit his career
career
high, I'm
high.
sure.
Like, I swear, if you go, Cypher probably
19
tell
and
you
a
the
half
stats.
points.
Yeah, go ahead, Cypher.
Oh, dude, Cam Johnson, he could act Sean Marks could actually get 2 firsts out of him. I mean, Cam Johnson's 19 and a half points, 4.3 rebounds, 3 assists, 67% true shooting. Like, that is
Yeah.
the 5th best in the NBA.
Exactly.
Like, for comparison, every player that has a better true shooting percentage than him is a second.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, Cypher, because it's like the year that Cam Johnson's having, he's just gonna, he's gonna be an impact for a contending team. And like, you think about his age, 27, 28, still fairly, in the middle. He's still good enough. His contract is not too crazy. He's on a 25 million. That's not crazy in his new CBA. We've seen guys getting 40, 50 million who don't deserve it. He's on a manageable contract. So it's like he has this so much value, and he's a 3-and-D wing, a 3-and-D tall wing. So it's like, if he doesn't get 2 firsts, I'll be upset. I mean, if he, like, I gotta see from this package that we get from CJ, it has to be at least 1 first round pick at the minimum, at least 1. And if you're not getting 2 first rounds, at least give us 2 great, really young prospects. And if one of them is a point guard, that is just amazing for me. I need a great young point guard, or a solid young point guard, or a young prospect, at least. Like you said, Jarris Walker, Topic, somebody that's young is going to be can connect to this rebuild that we're doing, and it's gonna give us value too. It has to be great. This package, like the Dennis package and the DFS package, I'm like, we knew these guys weren't, seconds and whatever. We knew these guys weren't really that valuable, but CJ is valuable.
CJ has years on his contract.
Yeah.
Dennis and DFS, they're older guys.
Expiring.
They are expiring. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like Johnson. So I ran a poll on Nets Twitter.
Yeah.
And I was asking, because OKC is like my dream trade partner here.
Yeah.
And so I asked, okay, out of Nets Twitter, who would you want the most? Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Jason Wallace, Jokic. And at least one of these guys has to be in the trade to make the money work.
Yeah. See, that's perfect, because my ideal thing would be either OKC or the Pacers. Now, I don't think the Magic or the Kings are gonna I don't think they're gonna give us anything like a value more than the Pacers or OKC. So I think if OKC is the one, and we were talking about this before, I don't think Sam Presti is gonna really get fleeced here. I think he's gonna try to give us his scraps, and he doesn't care about the first. He'll give us a first because he has a boatload of firsts. It's like he's not gonna be like, oh yeah, you could take a first, you could take maybe two. But it's just the players, because I think OKC is just built on being deep, being 10 deep, being a great deep team, having guys off the bench that are impactful. So he doesn't want to mess that kind of chemistry up. I mean, what if they were on a 14-game winning streak before they just lost tonight? So he doesn't want to, hurt that chem before, that certain run before the finals or their playoff run. So I just think he's going to be very in particular about this trade.
I mean, tonight's the argument for why they should make the trade, because as good as OKC is, 3-point shooting is a massive problem. And they went 11 or 31 tonight from three. That's not bad, but this is a team that just struggles to get shots up from three and hit them. And Cam Johnson is shooting 44% from three on 7.5 attempts.
Yeah.
And this is a team that has some money, relatively has some money to spend, and has enough assets to where they're not relatively losing too much, and it just benefits them.
Yeah. And if we can get Tilpitch or Case, I would love Case Wallace, because he's just a menace on defense, man. He just has so much potential. But
he reminds me of Drew Holiday on defense.
Yeah, he's just so good on defense. And then I'm thinking about, realistically, like if I was OKC, if there's any Thunder fans watching this, please let us know in the comments who you guys would give up for CJ. I think they don't care about. I think they would put Topic in that trade, and I think Wiggins would be probably their weakest link. But that's just my opinion. I think Wiggins would be their guy that they're just like, yeah, you can have Wiggins and Topic in the first.
It might be Joe, to be honest.
You think so? Because Isaiah Joe was just a demon with the shooting last year, bro. His 3-point shooting I don't know how, it's been probably bad this year, right? But
35%.
Yeah, but the past few years he's just been unbelievable from three. So you think they'll take Isaiah? Okay, so between Isaiah and Aaron Wiggins, I guess between those two. Because Kaysen, I don't think they're gonna give up Kaysen. I don't think they're gonna give up Kaysen, bro. So yeah. Let us know in the comments, yo. How you guys feel about CJ's trade? Who do you guys want back for CJ? Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. I know we've been gone for a minute, but we'll be back. We're finally 2025. We're happy about this tank, and we're really excited. Like, I can't wait for the lottery. Like, I'm really excited for the lottery. But follow us on Twitter. All our Twitters are scrolling at the bottom. Instagram, Nets Kingdom 1, and check out netskingdom.net for articles and recaps of the games. Let us know. We're on that mission. We're on that mission to tank. If you're an anti-tank, I'm sorry. It's you. You just gotta just watch and root for the tank, because there's no more of this. Oh, we gotta win or we gotta play hard. It's like, you see what Sean Marks is doing. You see what he's doing. You see what the team is doing with the injury reports. We had 8 players available tonight. If you think this team is not in on the tank, they're in on the tank. So just follow what the team is doing if you're, anti-tank. So yeah, let us know in the comments, and we'll be back. Appreciate you guys so much. Yeah.